Greetings and salutations. It's David Duford here at davidduford.com, where I help insurance agents like you become top producing insurance professionals. And today I'm continuing my ever popular one-on-one consultation series with agents across the country talking about topics related to selling more insurance and tangential things as well. Today I'm with Mr. Nassim. Say hello, Mr. Nassim.
Hey, how you doing, Dave? Nassim right here. I'm a final expense agent in the Dallas, Texas, So I'm
You are
good.
here. I am here,
Yeah.
and we're here to hopefully help you with the questions that you have for me. So let's jump right into it. I explained in the scene that this kind of coaching call is really just open-ended. It's really designed to allow me to answer the questions that he has about anything selling and marketing for final expense. So the floor is open to you, Nassim. Please ask away and let me help.
Yeah, absolutely. So primarily, I only do final expense. I don't cross-sell. I don't do Medicare or anything like that. So mainly bread and butter is coming from final expense. I've tried as far as like lead program and stuff like that. I've been all the way around telemarketing, Facebook, direct mail. So everything is just okay. But I've seen to like struggle with like lead flow, and really script, like opening the doors, booking appointment, it's okay. I've found that I've done very well with the Facebook leads versus the direct mail, where everyone says, they're king, in the industry. I've struggled with like door knock pitch, and stuff like that. So it's mainly where I want to like polish right now. It's like a good, like kind of like a good elevator speech. When you get in front of a potential employer, you want to make that good impression, first impression. Right. So it's kind of like what I want to work on right now. Polish, as far as like my direct mail, the Facebook leads, I've done pretty well. Sometimes I've gotten out of 20 leads, I've sold almost half of that. So I mean, but nonetheless, I do create it myself. So they're like niche, or customized to me. They have.
Oh, so you're doing your own Facebook marketing?
I'm doing my own Facebook marketing. Yeah.
Okay. Where did you? Can I ask you a question? Because I know my audience is going to ask us. How did you learn how to do that? Can you give us a quick resource for their sake?
Yes, I was watching one of your videos a couple months back from the lead Eagle guys. So I jumped on their program. So they put a masterclass course. So I took that course, and they actually taught me how to actually do the marketing. More advanced marketing, because that's what they do. Because of Facebook business, it's actually a monster. It's not as simple as it seems. And you really know how to navigate that thing really like in depth, so how you really get those leads. So that's how I learned how to do the Facebook leads.
Yeah, that's Final Expense Leaders. If you go on YouTube, go find their stuff. It's excellent. I actually have a portion of my training dedicated to Final Expense Facebook marketing, but it's extremely basic, and I end up telling people just to go over there and do what they do, because they have a much more in-depth and broader understanding of how it works. So back to you. Thanks for that, Nassim. So are you looking for help with knocking your leads or getting in the door face to face? Is that really where you want to take this?
Yes, because I also, I learn a lot from YouTube, and I've seen a lot of your videos, and other mentor agents, and kind of everyone agrees whether, if this is your first year, probably second year, you shoot door knock versus a call. You will get more out of your leads that way, rather than, dialing, because, the phone skills is something that you seem to acquire with time, so everyone says, hey, every mentor agent says, hey, don't know first, second year. And instead of like calling you direct mail leads, because you'll close more, your ratio is going to go higher than just booking appointments on the phone,
Right. So let me ask you this. With this custom piece, this custom Facebook marketing you're doing, Have you door knocked any of those leads at all?
No, I only don't know direct mail leads.
Okay, so you're asking how do you door knock your direct mail leads that you do in addition to the Facebook? Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'll answer your question, but the first thing I think of is, you're doing well with the Facebook. Why don't you do more of it?
Because it's been so, what's the word? It's so flooded right now that it's hard even for me that I guess I have a little bit of advanced marketing to get even 20 leads. Some weeks I only get 2 leads or 5 leads or 10 leads. It's Dallas, Texas. Oh, so also, it's kind of there's probably 200 agents, and just this little area right here. Yeah. So everyone is doing Facebook leads. So it just, I have to subsidize with direct mail or even with telemarketing, it's just.
Okay. I had to ask because one of the things that my job is to do is to tell you what you're doing right, and then to tell you to make sure you do more of what you're doing right. Because sometimes, like, even let's say you could get all the Facebook leads that you want. To me, I would be like, yeah, that's what we should do. We shouldn't go to direct mail if you don't have a lead source problem, and you should just go all in as much as possible doing the Facebook. But if that's the problem, then yeah, I totally understand. So now we're presented with, how do you run this business from a direct mail marketing model, and how can we handle some of the nuances? And I totally get that. So direct mail leads and door knocking. What kind of resistance have you experienced so far working those leads? Like, what kind of problems are you running into?
Fake excuses like, I'm busy right now. Oh, I'm tired. I'm beat. And I know they're just trying to push me around. So I'm really trying to get my foot in the door because, like I said, the second time, the likelihood of closing that app is very, very low. So either you get it in or you probably won't see them again.
And how many of you, as best as you can tell me, how many of your direct mail leads are you converting? If you buy 10 direct mail leads, how many end up being clients? 1, 2, 3?
1 or 2. 1 or 2.
So you're at like 15% close ratio or conversion ratio.
Okay. Yeah, a lot lower than my Facebook.
How many are you actually presenting to? So if out of 10 leads, are you giving presentations to 3, 4, 5?
No, just 2.
Okay. So on one hand, you're closing a lot of the people you're sitting with, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. So it's really just it's a presentation problem. Or because if we can move that number up to 4 or 5, I mean, you're going to 3 or 4. Sounds like.
Which is it's kind of what I see with my Facebook. Let's just say I have 5 appointments. I put 3 policies. So and then so the presentation I believe is good because the numbers say so, right? Not because I believe I'm a great agent. It's just the numbers show the results, right? Rather than being in front of the people, it's the problem.
Yeah. So what percentage are you calling these direct mail leads yet? I assume you are, right?
No.
You're just door knocking.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a reason you're not calling them?
Because they were my first batch, and I was just trying to do what people said was best.
Sure. Okay. But you're calling your Facebook leads right now, right?
Absolutely.
Setting appointments.
All of them. Absolutely.
Are you using the same basic, like just set the appointment strategy? Are you pre-qualifying for your Facebook leads? Are you pre-qualifying them at all?
It's a pretty simple script, basically like, hey, Mary, this is Nassim, just giving you a quick call back about that form you fill out on Facebook. I happen to be in your area tomorrow, but there's actually 3 people in front of you. So what's the best time for you, mornings or evenings? So I kind of give him kind of that model. Says there's 3 people in front of you, use a little bit of that, some create some
urgency.
Urgency. Yeah. So, and that works pretty good.
I would say, well, I mean, the first thing I would do is I would treat your leads, because here's the thing. I mean, what you're relying on is, and it's fine, is just generic advice that everybody gives. And it's good up to a point until you deal with the individual and you start to assess what their actual skill set is. And then you need to adjust that advice. I mean, fundamentals are important, and
Right.
we need to get better at door knocking for sure. But just because everybody says door knock and then call when you're better or advanced doesn't mean, especially if you're doing it already with Facebook leads, I think you should call these people. I think so there's going to be people that I think you'll get that you can't reach, maybe because they're not answering the door, they're not there, but you'll be able to book over the phone. So for me, I think, well, you should be definitely calling, okay, out the gate.
All right.
Now, the second thing is that, are you working like a final expense area? Are you working like low income neighborhoods? Are you working more suburbia, middle class? Like, where are you with the direct mail?
Definitely with Facebook. Poor seniors, that's our market. Okay. So in this region, usually it's the south part of the whole metroplex is
right.
Where I mainly do business because the wealthy don't buy insurance. That's just,
right.
That's how it is.
Right. So your direct mail are going to the same folks too, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So, what's your script at the door? Can you run through?
Oh yeah. My script would be basically I stand, knock, says, "Hey, John, I'm here because you sent this." So I show him the car, let him look at it for like, I don't know, a couple seconds, and then I jump into, the reason I'm right here is usually the people send this card, it's because they're looking for some sort of program, that would take care of the final expense, or cremation. I was actually right here in the area, running an app, so I was just kind of taking the opportunity, to give you the information. Do you have 5 minutes? So that's pretty much the basics of it. So that's pretty much what I said, so I let him, I just shut up, I just kind of look at him,
yeah,
what they, try to get, do the body language part, whether they're comfortable with me or they're really something's going on, but I don't know if it's just Dallas, Texas, that absolutely no one wants to talk to you, man. And it's been rough.
So how many leads have you worked, direct mail leads have you worked so far?
About 20.
So how many did some kind of BS excuse like what you're describing?
Ooh, I would say 70% of them.
So you had like 14 or 15 to say.
Yeah. And then the rest, I haven't been able to catch them.
And then what happened to the rest?
The rest, there's no show. It's like they don't really open the door, or they're busy, or something's going on with them.
Have you worked this zip code before?
No.
Okay, so it's brand new. Okay. Mm-hmm. So out of the 70 that have some dumb excuse, what about the other 30%? Did any of them buy? Is that the 15% that bought?
That's the 50% that bought.
So you're telling me that 3 of those 20 bought a policy, right? So you sold 3 policies to those 20 leads.
No, will be 2 of them. 2 of them bought a policy out of actually 12 leads, because the order was 20. I got my first batch of 12. That's the one I worked on it. So I'm working a new 20. So the actual number will be 20. So we'll be actually 12. My bad. So it'll be 1 out of 12. So 1 out of 12. Yeah.
So you sold 1 out of 12. Okay. So you're saying that the other 11 did this,
I would say about 7 of them is like no show. It's like I just haven't seen them, so I don't really know what the reaction would be because I just haven't been in front of them.
You're saying 7 of them you haven't even talked to yet.
Exactly. I don't have it. I'm a knock door. I don't knock, right? But yeah, they haven't been. I haven't interact with the people.
Okay. So you sold 1 out of 12. Then there's 7 that you haven't had any interaction with, and then another 4 did this kind of stunt that they give you this kind of nonsense. Is that right?
And then there's a few cases where it's 80 people over 81, 82 years old that thought it was actually Social Security benefit. you know?
Sure.
So, and they don't really have any money. They're paycheck to paycheck. So, I mean, that's out of that, you know, it's like, that's not really my client. So.
Right. So is this need a lead?
Yes.
What lead are you working?
DE70.
Okay. State regulated life insurance.
Yes.
Second paragraph, first line. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you've only worked 12 then so far?
Yes.
Okay. So, you know, I don't know, man. I mean, like, here's the deal. 12 is not a good number to make a determination, especially not talk to half of them. I mean, all you need right now is to like sell 2 of them, and you're 2 more, which is very possible considering your experience level. All you really need is just to get in the door. And if you can get in the door on these people, I mean, you've got a better than half chance of closing them based on your experience with Facebook leads. So I think it's really too early to closely criticize your performance at the door.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to push this off. It's just one of the things I think that's really important in this business is that you dial in on the numbers first. I think your problem is not necessarily a sales and prospecting problem. I think your problem is a lead problem. Okay.
Yes.
And yeah, I believe in this business that of all the problems that agents have, their biggest problem is sufficient opportunity. More specifically, sufficient number of presentations consistently each week. I've talked to also, and you're one of these agents that I talk to where you got a grasp of what's going on and you do well when you're inside. But the problem is you're not doing enough presentation, which is a derivative of not having enough leads. And you really can't be too critical to your sales skill set until you've gotten the numbers out of the way. And what I would say is that if you're full-time in this business, you really need to be thinking, how can I do 15 appointments a week?
Okay.
Every single week. If you're out in the field 5 days a week, you need to stop at nothing from getting 3 appointments a day or seeing 3 people a day. Now, in order to do that with direct mail, you really need to have 30 leads a week. Or with Facebook leads, if you're working you work in a specific one with a more generic piece, I would be looking at 30 to 40, probably closer to 40.
40 Facebook leads.
There. Go ahead. I'm sorry. 40
Facebook leads.
Yeah, but we're talking not the kind you're doing, because with how specific yours are, you're not getting, as you can see, you're not getting nearly as much response rate. Even though they're good leads, you can continue doing that. But you may want to consider just running a basic lead, like everybody else is running, because it'll give you the volume.
Right.
Because right now what you need more than anything is just people to talk to. And once you've satisfied the number, and this is what I think would happen, is as soon as you start hitting 15 people a week, every single week, between calling on the phone and door knocking when you can, I mean, based on your numbers, you should be writing, like you said, you're doing 3 deals out of 5 appointments. You should be writing at least 7 policies out of 15 appointments, which that's bank, man. I mean, like if you can just do that, which is not as good as you have been doing, as far as how many sales you're making out of your leads as a percent or out of your presentations, that's perfect. So, but you can't get to that with, 20 direct mail or, 2 good Facebook leads. You're going to have to up the lead flow. If you can't get there right away, you need to work it up, of course. And if you got to scale back the numbers, that's fine. But hopefully where my main point is that I'm very hesitant to start looking at your sales skills and critiquing that when there's a bigger elephant in the room. And like I say this all the time, Tony Robbins, Mr. Charisma, if all he gets is 5 leads and he sells 3 deals a week, he's not going to make as much money as Joe Blow, the average final expense guy that is a workhorse and runs 15 appointments a week, and he sells half of them. He's got my guy's got a worse close ratio, but he's got more leads and he's got better work ethic. Well, he's got the ability to have better work ethic because he's got enough leads. He's going to make more money than Tony does, even though he's not as charismatic. And so I just think that that is what's the most important thing for you, is satisfying the lead flow. And in the meantime, not being too worried what you're doing with the door knocking. Now, if you got the lead, now here's what comes next is you get the lead flow going. You're out there door knocking. You're out there setting appointments. And then you notice, Dave, I'm getting like 25 normal Facebook leads a week. I'm only seeing 5 people. I'm closing 3 out of 5, but what's happening to those other 20? Now I'm kind of more like, this isn't. And you've done this for several weeks. That's the other thing. We've only got one batch. Everybody has a bad batch here from here and there, you know, and frankly, you're not even all the way done with it, right? You got 7 people that haven't talked.
Right.
So I'm more interested to see, okay, do this for a month. Let's look at the big numbers, because numbers like these averages we throw out, like you should close 1 out of 4 of your leads or half of your presentations. Those are all meaningless in the short term. They mean a lot more over the course of a month. Once you've done, you purchase 80 or 100 leads, because you've been at bat a bunch, right? You know, you kind of now have some track record, but 1 out of 12 is just too little. Is this making sense? I don't mean to be dodging the question.
Percentage wise, you know, it makes sense. You know, it means it has nothing to do with presentation or the sales skills, rather than, you know, the lead flow, you know. So,
and it's not that you couldn't need help with this stuff. I just think that in the scheme of things, if my job is to tell you what's most important, it's activity. You got to get that nailed down first. And this is I don't say every agent. This is the number one problem all agents have is I can tell you're not bad. If you're closing like you're saying you are, you're good enough. And good enough is good enough in this business. But what's not good enough and what's bad is if you're not seeing that number of people every week. At least half of your leads should be your goal. So if you're buying 20 leads, you should see 10 presentations. But that's a number that's established after the course of a month. You have to give your system the time to perform. Okay, I've put in a month. I bought 80 leads. I've run 30 appointments. Okay, why not 40? You know, and then we got more to work with.
Right. So another thing that I've done only with Facebook leads and is text messages, and that has worked pretty good.
Okay.
Let me ask you about, can I do the same thing with direct mail? Like instead of like dialing, where I just text messages. They see their information, you know, because I have it in front of me.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, mister, you know, I'm Nassim, you know, I just got your information. I'm going to be in your area tomorrow, but there's happen to be 3 people in front of you. So does mornings or evening work best for you? And I wait for them. And usually whatever, man, it could take them 8 hours, you know, in 8 hours, I get them back, you know, if they rebuttal, I rebuttal through that and it works. So what is your experience doing that with direct mail leads?
100% do it. It works just as fine. I had a live stream earlier today and the conversation came up because we were talking about appointment setting, and someone asked, do you leave voicemails? And no, I never leave voicemails. And the reason is, and this got me to the text messages. Nobody listens to voice. I'm convinced nobody listens to voicemails. If they may look at the transcription and then delete it, but they're not listening to it in depth. But what every single person on the face of the planet does with a smartphone or any kind of cellular device is they read text messages. Mm-hmm. So the key is, in my opinion, the question is, when do you text them? And what's the frequency in which you text them? I think for me personally, what I teach, you don't have to do it like this. You could do it earlier on. I like to text after I've tried calling at least a couple of times. That may be the same day that I start calling it. You know, I called the lead once, 30 minutes, call it later, then I'll send a text. I'm very hesitant to text multiple times. That's my only thing, because that starts to quickly irritate people. And your script is perfect. So if for those agents watching this, use your appointment setting script. This is David Duford. I'm texting you because you had sent a card back, requested information on Facebook about our final expense programs to take care of burial expenses. I just need 5 minutes to show you how this works, and one of tomorrow at 10 or 2 would work. Then send a picture along with that of the lead card. Take a picture of it. Or just show them information, or just in your text to them say, hey, you said that your favorite color was blue, or your email address is so-and-so, just to let you know that I did actually receive this.
Right.
And you may even want to say something like, hey, I don't want to text you again. I'm super busy. If you're not interested and I don't hear back from you the next day, I'll just assume you're not interested. You can still call them maybe next week or something. But if you add that little bit of urgency on the end, that'll get a reply faster back, as opposed to somebody looks at it, thinks about it, then forgets it was there, and they go about their day.
And I had an idea. And, since direct mail leads actually come through a single zip code, the only reason I was thinking of texting before I call them is just to give them a generic script with the picture of the card.
Yeah.
So they, like what's best for you, evenings or mornings or evenings, and then I rebuttal. So they give me a time, kind of book the appointment that way, and then door knock the next day. As a way of filtering, real prospect versus people that are just fooling around with me. What do you think about that?
So you would text them first, and then what would happen again?
I'll text them with the script, and kind of give them like mornings or evening work best for you. Wait for them, and this says since they're gonna see the postcard, they're gonna give me mornings of evenings, or they're gonna say I'm not interested anymore. So as a way of seeing who's really interested in buying versus those that are just simply fooling around,
Sure.
Curious people, that just send it because they want to send it,
Right. I'm hesitant to get off the track too much, because this appointment setting approach works fine. The thing with any sales and marketing system, whether you sell final expense, cars, any kind of anything, is there's always good and bad. The bad in the final expense business is you're going to deal with people who think this is free. They think Uncle Sugar is going to finally pay for the burial, and obviously they won't. And how do you avoid that waste of your time? I mean, it's very hard to. There are unicorns out there that get around it. But for the vast majority of insurance agents selling final expense, you have to take the good with the bad. And so the question becomes, if I modify my script to try to avoid the bad, how does that affect my capability to efficiently or effectively sell? Because what you don't want to do is lose out on appointment opportunities where maybe someone tells on the text message they didn't get a chance to hear, you didn't get a chance to do a good objection rebuttal, and they're sitting there with a captive company, the company named after an American president. You could replace that all day long if you just got in front of them, but the text message was the decision-making factor, not a conversation over the phone or even face-to-face. So I'm just hesitant of losing the potential for opportunities. And this goes back to our original point, which is the core focus we should have, and all agents should have getting started, is how am I going to see, even if it's going to be a dud, 15 people a week? And once you reach that, then start getting creative. Maybe you start figuring out how to disqualify people before getting in front of them.
I wouldn't say as much as disqualifying. I would say as much as replying people that are available, so because if I say, I'm going to be in your area next week, but there happen to be 3 people in front of you, I would just like to know what's the best time for mornings or evenings, so I just want them to give me a time so I could actually go door knock them, not really disqualify, because if they don't really text me back, I don't care. I'll still door knock them, but kind of have an idea when they're going to be at home. That's where I was trying to get.
Sure. Yeah. To me, I'm just worried that not having a conversation with these people is going to get more of those. If you were to initially and I have no way to validate this. Ultimately, you'd have to test this out.
Right.
But instinctively, I would think that if you did this with 20 leads, some are going to book with you, but there's some people who won't book until they talk to the person and decide based on how they sound, what they're saying, kind of what their mannerisms are based on a face-to-face or phone conversation. They won't book until they hear the person talk to them. It's rare. And this is why I'm just leery of text messages as a first approach, because so much of why someone books an appointment with you is their interaction with you. How is this guy? Is he a nice guy? Who am I letting in the door? They don't know that in a text message. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't, that's why I like using text messages after trying to call them, because now I've got a reason to text. Hey, I tried calling you, and you're like everybody else, you get slammed with phone calls. So I'm texting you because I'm in your area tomorrow. I've got 3 booked and wondered if it's kind of what you do. So I'm more of a fan of using it when nothing else is working.
Right.
Or, I tried calling, because now I've got a reason to text. Well, you got a reason anyway, but when all else, ideally, I want to talk to these people, because you, Nassim, are the reason people buy. Okay. People buy from you. They don't buy from Trinity, Transamerica, or any of these other companies. They buy because of the connection that they make with you. And that connection is first started face-to-face at a door knock or over the phone. And no amount of automation, technology, or whatever will replace that. So any replacement of that is going to deter in the results that you're going to see, and how many what percentage you book, or what percent, and then ultimately what you close.
Okay. I don't know how much time I got, but I'll give you one question.
Well, let's go 5 more minutes if that's right.
Okay. Script wise, even for both on the phone and text message, what time do you usually call or dial? It's like, is there prefer hours in the mornings and in the evenings, or like how do you manage that?
So my favorite times, or recommended times for final expense, and this is true really of calling any prospect at home, 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock is the best time. If I had to choose one block time, the reason is some of your prospects work. Many are retired, but they go to doctor's appointments and do errands, and they're at home by dinner. So that is the time to call. That is the time to dial the phone and get people on the phone. More people will pick up then than any other time. My second favorite time is between 9 o'clock and 11. If you've got some balls, you can call even earlier than 9, like 8 o'clock to 9, 8:30 to 9. You'll get a lot of people picking up, because it's kind of outside the normal and customary times that people call, and people will pick up then. Those 2 times are fantastic, with the nighttime being the best. Now, if you call on the weekends, Saturday between 9 and 12 is good in the morning. And then Sundays, 4 to 8 o'clock is really good. Especially Sunday. Sunday is a very good time. And if you got a bunch of leads that aren't picking up the phone, sit down between 4 and 8, some time between then, and call them. You'll get a lot picking up. And so I would be doing that, one of those blocks, if not both. Make sure you're calling your leads repetitively. So you get through 20 leads at 6:20. You don't stop until tomorrow. You call them again. You start right over again from square one. Rotate phone numbers out with different phone services. You maybe got another cell phone. Maybe use Google Voice, Skype. Keep them guessing. Everybody knows you're a telemarketer when you call 5 times in a row. Double, triple dial. Don't just dial Mildred once. Dial her a second and a third time right in the row. That's going to disrupt their orientation, and they're going to think, is this person like my grandkid in a wreck or someone I love? That zip code or area code seems familiar. I'm going to pick this up. So you overcome some of that initial resistance, because you're doing something out of the ordinary. Most telemarketers are working in a call center. They're just speed dialing out of a system, and they don't double or triple dial. So you doing that will make a big difference to get pickups. And let's see what else. What am I forgetting?
And if it's a text, you do the same thing, same hours?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Just text whenever. I nighttime too, whatever. I don't know enough now about text to say if one time of the day is better than the other. I'm sure it's just make sure you're doing it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've just done it a lot with Facebook leads, and sometimes I'm texting with people for minutes, it's like 20, 30 text messages, and I still book the appointments.
Really?
So that's what people, I don't know, they seem less intimidated to speak out through a text message.
Yeah.
they don't want to talk to me still, but they text me. So I'm like, what? Okay, whatever. This is what you like. What's what you like.
Go with the flow. You know, you want to, however the customer or the prospect wants to be communicated with, you communicate them with that way. I did an inspection on a home. When I was applying for a mortgage, I immediately got an email and a text message. And like me personally, like I don't mind corresponding with a prospect via text, you know, like, but it's all phone-based sales. So nobody's going to come to my house. But the thing is, nowadays, there's the seniors and the people who are in their 50s have been around technology long enough that you're going to find people are comfortable with that process. So if they want to play ball that way, go for it. You know, some people just don't like talking on the phone. So, you know, absolutely. If you're getting that type of response, just
that's what I'm getting right here in this area. You know, a lot of people don't like to be on the phone. They hate it too much telemarketing. You know, maybe it's just Dallas in general. You know, this is kind of busy city. You know,
it probably is to
ordered by telemarketers. You know, no one picks up the phone anymore right here. So I've resourced to texting because of that.
And you know, if they text you back, some of these people say, "Hey, who is this?" Great. You know, they've initiated the conversation in a text message. You'll say that, right? Reply back. Perfect opportunity to get a text message conversation going. You know that they're going to reply, because a lot of times those people are like, this is a familiar number, so I'm just going to text and see what happens. So, but if you kept calling them, they may get all flipped out because they're paranoid anyway. But yeah, no, I agree with you. I think texting is going to be a critical part of this equation here, because more people. I mean, look at. I remember it 10 years ago. You know, people who were in their 20s and teens, shit, they don't pick the phone up and talk. They text each other. You know, the hell you got a phone for? You're not going to phone call. That's what I used to think. But everybody texts that. So that mentality is going to go through everything at all ages to different percentages. Right. So, you know, just play with the game, the cards that are the deck that's presented to you and the hand that's presented to you, and just do it. You know, if it gets you appointments booked, then why not? You know,
why not? Okay. That sounds good. I would say I'm kind of like good, you know, with the advice.
Okay.
It's any way we can get off the books.
Okay. It would say what now?
So, can we get off the books? I mean, the record.
Oh, you're done? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I got to do my little outro here.
Okay. Sorry.
So now that the consultation here is over, I will say, first of all, Nassim, thank you very much for your time.
Absolutely.
Your questions are questions that lots of people ask. And I promise you, this is very helpful to a lot of people. So thank you for having the courage to get on one of these calls and being willing to do it. Secondly, if you like this kind of format and you would like the idea of doing a call like this, I do these throughout the year for absolutely free. This is a way for me to create really good content for the community that's receptive, that people like, and really answer questions people have. So feel free to reach out to me. You can just leave a comment on this video. You can go to my website, davidduford.com/contact if you'd like to do something like this, and then we can arrange them. Again, I do them at different times of the year. I don't always do them, but this is something that my community of subscribers likes. I'm going to do more of it. So other than that, Nassim, moral of the story today is just see more people, man. I think once you get the lead situation worked out, this will start to iron out. And reach out to me. Just shoot me an email, call me, anything, if I can help you as you start getting more leads in and getting more numbers going. And I'll be happy to do what I can.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right, man. Yeah, you went quiet on me, I think, but I'm going to go.
I'm still here.
Okay, great. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah. We're still recording?
Yes. I can stop it now, though.
Yeah.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, take care.